The internet has been in an uproar recently about the woke mind virus infiltrating the story of Anne Frank in the form of a musical called Slam Frank. I seriously thought myself that this was a ludicrous move and a joke, and whilst I do still think that, I did some digging and found out that things don't appear to be exactly what they seem in the context of surrounding this particular musical and how it came about. Introduction. Please let me know what you think of changing things for the sake of changing things, and is it correct to do so in the terms of entertainment? And please do keep it friendly in the comments section as well. So the Libs of TikTok posted this particular article as a screenshot, no link, from the Daily Mail. What fresh hell is this? Holocaust victim Anne Frank reimagined as a pansexual Latina with non-binary lover and neurodiverse family in controversial NYC musical. Now, I thought at first it was another show where things have been changed for the sake of changing things, with the pushing of woke ideology. So I even said this in response to the Libs of TikTok, and I actually think this highlights that context is everything. So I am guilty of it too. I'm cool with it so long as Robert Downey Jr. does MLK. Oh, wait, no, that's racist and wrong and not factually correct. However, normally I hear about these types of things pretty quickly, about what is right to do for a show, what is wrong to do for a show, TV, film. I actively follow it because of the content that I produce on this channel. So why is it only now that I have heard about this? Why is it not drawing bigger attention? And whilst I stand by my statement about Robert Downey Jr., to the fact of what we see with historical figures, Isaac Newton in Doctor Who being one of them, one way and not the other, there was something about this that was bothering me. So I went to the Daily Mail to have a look to see what they had to say, because I didn't think that Libs of TikTok was providing full context, and they weren't. The full article is linked below, so let's take a look at this. A new musical in New York City has ignited fierce backlash for reimagining Holocaust victim Anne Frank as a pansexual Latina hiding from Nazi occupation with her neurodiverse family and a non-binary love interest. The production, titled Slam Frank, is a satirical play that exaggerates current cultural trends around inclusivity and identity politics, applying them to one of history's most tragic stories to critique how performative wokeness can distort storytelling. The show began as a viral Instagram parody by Jewish composer Andrew Fox, who jokes about creating a production to make Latinx girlies feel included in the Holocaust. I believe the way the Libs of TikTok posted this particular post that they made was because it didn't fit a narrative that could be matched with the opinions of the poster. The biggest trigger was the headline, hence why the post had the headline and the photograph of the show instead, and not necessarily what the aim of the show is. Which is why when I come to make a video like this, I always research it first, because otherwise I would have looked like an absolute twonk had I just ran with what Lips of TikTok had to say. I went to the show's website to see how the creators of the show had phrased their synopsis. This is it. Slam Frank, a new musical. Did Anne Frank ever acknowledge her white privilege? This question, asked and debated by real people in a massive 2022 Twitter thread, is the inspiration behind Slam Frank. Slam Frank imagines what happens when a progressive community theatre company decides to transform Anne Frank's true story into an intersexual, multi-ethnic, genderqueer, decolonized, empowering Afro-Latin hip-hop musical, and you, the audience, have the privilege of witnessing it. This is it, folks, a developmental run of the actual show. Slam Frank is a real musical. So that's what they said. And I remember vaguely the debate that happened in 2022, and I couldn't believe that people had gone down that route with Anne Frank. However, 2022 is very different from 2025. These debates, whilst they are still very apparent, are not as avidly debated now as they were back then. I even saw some suggestions that had been posed that Black Hammer Organization had actually posed this particular question. However, I've not yet found anything to confirm that, but I can't say whether it's true or not. Now, there was a petition against this musical on change.org. It only got 670 signatures. However, the reasoning is stated as thus. We, the undersigned, called for the immediate cancellation of Slam Frank, a production that distorts and trivializes the true story of Anne Frank, a symbol of Jewish suffering and resilience during the Holocaust. Anne Frank's diary is one of the most sacred testimonies of the atrocities committed against the Jewish people. It is a deeply personal account of fear, hope, and unimaginable horrors of genocide. Turning her story into a slam or any form of entertainment that prioritizes shock value over historical reverence is not only inappropriate, it is deeply offensive. The Jewish community, Holocaust survivors, and educators around the world have worked tirelessly to preserve the dignity and lessons of this history. Slam Frank undermines these efforts by reducing a profound tragedy into a spectacle, risking misinformation, desensitization, and mockery of the very real pain millions of people endured. Art and theatre must be held to a standard of responsibility, especially when dealing with topics of such grave human suffering. There are ways to tell difficult stories creatively and thoughtfully. This production, however, fails to honour the memory of Anne Frank and all victims of the Holocaust. We urge the producers, theatres and sponsors to reorganise the immense harm the show could cause. We demand that Slam Frank be cancelled before it opens and that all future representation of Holocaust stories be approached with reverence, truthfulness and sensitivity they deserve. Please sign and share your support to preserve the dignity of Jewish history. Now, I just so happen to agree with the reasoning here behind this petition, because if you look at today's world, if you take anything that's happening in today's world, then there will be an uproar about it, right? Art and theatre very much so does have the responsibility when dealing with sensitive topics, and it can run the risk of desensitization and misinformation. Now, the show's creator responded. Andrew Fox, however, remains unbothered. Speaking to the Daily Mail about the petition, he said, "Besides the devastating effect this tidal wave of criticism has had on my mental health, I have RSD, rejection sensitivity disorder. The petition and outcries have been extremely bad for our sales. When our shows started selling out weeks in advance, we had hoped that we would be able to turn away dozens of hopefuls in our standby ticket line, but now due to all the negative coverage, we only turn away half dozens. We request some privacy so that we may grieve with our chosen family. We hope the haters are happy with themselves." Sam Frank has sold out most performances at its 150-seat venue, Asylum NYC. Now, I can't work out if this is the writer or the Andrew Fox making a joke or not. It's very difficult to tell when it's in writing. Slam Frank, though, is currently still running until November 16th, 2025 off Broadway, and it has been selling out tickets. So it will remain to be seen as to what happens in the future with the show itself. Now, I'm all for pointing out woke and the impact that it has on our entertainment, and perhaps doing a performance where it shows the insertion of people who were never there to begin with, or something that's not factual, and addressing it in the form of performance. That itself, I have no issue with doing that. That's absolutely fine, because it is a known issue that we have at the moment. However, the subject matter has to be key. Choosing Anne Frank, I don't think, is the correct way to go. It has sparked outrage as expected, because the supposed satire desecrates an extremely sad and powerful, impactful part of history. There were so many other historical characters that the creators could have chosen where perhaps the outrage would have been far less, or the creators could have gone down the complete metaphorical route instead. There would have been absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Some people are saying that it is just entertainment, which ironically is they're saying that in a society where people just throw around the words like Yahtzee and racist as if it's lost all meaning. But, you take that form of entertainment and the significance behind the historical figure and apply that to something that is happening today. And this is the closest that I'll probably get to talking about it on this channel. And would that be something that you would use to make fun and poke light of woke with? Would you do that? Well, anyway, I certainly wouldn't. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Check some of the other content that I have picked out for you. Chat about it, don't shout about it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching today. Don't forget you can join me on my other platforms as well. I've got YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, X, TikTok, Instagram, Locals, Substack, and I also have a Discord. Everything is linked below.